Welcome all in my classes. Today we will learn about the drug discovery and development. The drug discovery and development course has objective that student will get exposure about drug discovery and development. The course outcome of this drug discovery and development is after completion of this course work, students are able to do, they can explain the preclinical study, illustrate the different type of bioassay, analyze the drug designing process, examine the methods and process of drug discovery, interpret the drug delivery system. So for the today lecture, we will elaborate the basic concept of the drug discovery and development. So this is the course related to the biological science and bioengineering. The computational biology student can also learn this subject. So it is a undergraduate or postgraduate level course. So for example, we will proceed with the unit 1, that is introduction to the drug development. This has content about need for a new drug, target identification, lead identification, sources of new drugs, drug discovery and drug development process, animal model of the disease. So today lecture objective is to explain the drug discovery process. We will analyze the need for a new drug, why a drug is needed, targets, type of drug targets, target identification strategy, target validation process. So we can see proceed with the some keywords like drugs. What is a drug? Drug is a medicine or other substance which has a physiological effect when ingested or otherwise introduced into the body. Drug evaluation is a process by which you can assay the toxicity, metabolism, absorption, elimination, preferred route of administration, safe dosage range, etc. for a drug or group of drugs is determined through the clinical assessment in the human or veterinary animal. The preclinical study is a study to test a drug, a procedure, or other medical treatment in the animal. So the aim of the preclinical study is to collect data in support of the safety of the new treatment. The preclinical study are required before clinical trial in human and can be started. So clinical trial are the research study performed in the people that are aimed at evaluating a medical, surgical or behavioral intervention. So they are the primary way that researcher find out if a new treatment like a new drug or diet or medical device, for example, a pacemaker, is safe and effective in the people. Often, a chemical trial is used to learn if a new treatment is more effective and or has less harmful side effects than the standard treatment. So now we can understand the drug discovery process. A drug discovery process of the testing and evaluating of a drug that process for the gaining approval for selling of a drug is a long and arduous one. So here we look at the different stages involved and the approximate length of the time that each stage takes to eventually arrive at an approved drug that can be given to the patient. So it can be divided into 4 stages. First stage consists the research and development stage, and the target identification stage, compound screening stage, and lead identification. The second stage can be divided into preclinical study, in vitro study, in vivo study, required standards. In the third stage, the clinical trials will be performed with a drug. So the clinical trial can be categorized into as a phase 1 trial, phase 2 trial, phase 3 trial. In the phase 3 trial, after the completion of phase 3 trial, a drug can be approved by the competent authority and it can be tested in the market. So after the completion of phase 3 trials, a review and approval process will take place. So the review and approval process is consist evaluation process of the drug, approval and manufacture of the drug, and the post-release monitoring. Here pharmacovigilance study play in a role. So if we talk about the time duration of the for the drug discovery process, for example, if you want to discover a drug, to identify a drug for any diseases, then from the research and development process to the post release monitoring or review and approval process, it can take approx 12 to 14 years. In the research development, it took about 3 to 6 years. As drug development begins long before the clinical testing, it starts with the identification of a target for a drug to act on. Then the identification of the compound that could potentially hit that target. The target identification is the next strategy that understand of the causes of the disease condition that can help the research how what process or pathway of the drug to treat the condition near to be able to the target. So a target should be druggable. The compound screening is another steps of the research and development process. About 10,000 compound, if you want to screen 10,000 of compound, it's not necessary that you will obtain 10,000 compound as a drug. It might be one drug or two drug in the final stage. So the after compound screening, you can identify a lead molecule. A lead molecule then can be converted into the hit molecule. So in the preclinical study can take about 1 year, and it consists three types of study: in silico, in vitro, in vivo studies. So the in silico, in vitro, and in vivo studies is can be performed for the validation of the drug in the rodent model, the tissue cultures, and in the test tube. So after the required standard that before going to the clinical trial, there is required standard that minimum 2 mammalian species is used in the drug validation. So drug must undergo toxicity testing on at least 2 mammals, one non-rodent and one is rodent. So including at the least 2 administration route before they allow to proceed to the clinical trial in the humans. So the clinical trial will take about 4 to 7 years. It is not always correct. For in the COVID arena, some fast-track clinical trial can also be proceed. So it can took about 1 year, 6 months to 1 year. So normally the clinical trial is a long period time study and it involves human participants. So here the test in volunteers provide information on safety and efficacy. Around 70% of drugs succeed in the phase 1, 33% in phase 2, and 25 to 30% in phase 3. The phase 1 trial usually consists 20 to 80 people. And the primary goal of phase 1 trial is to determine the drug side effect. Additionally, how quickly the drug is metabolized and excreted from the body can be determined during this trial. The phase 2 trial consists about 100 to 300 people, and in the phase 2 trial it helps to determine how effective the drug is in patients who have the condition it is trying to treat. The control trial compared the effect of the drug to that of a placebo. The phase 3 trial can be conducted on 1000 to 3000 people. So the gauge efficacy, dosage, safety is a larger in a larger population can be performed in the phase 3 trial. So also the compare efficacy of existing treatment as well as interaction with other drugs and effect of different doses can also be investigated in the phase 3 trial. The review and approval process can take 1 to 2 years. In this process, if a drug is deemed effective in the clinical trial, it is submitted to the regulating body to be approved. It is estimated that only around 1 in 5,000 drug candidates make it all the way to approval. The evaluation is the evidence from the trial. The regulating body reviews the evidence provided by the pharmaceutical company for the drug efficacy and the safety. The drug offering important advances are given priority. Approval and manufacture process is about 70% submission approved. If the benefit of taking the drug are deemed to outweigh its risk, it is approved. The cost of developing a drug that gain marketing approval is estimated to be about approx 2000 billion million. About the post-release monitoring is a nothing but a pharmacovigilance study in which in this study after releasing the drug into the market, some a monitoring agency monitor the side effect and adverse reaction on the patients, on the subject, and it is a critical step. Some drugs are withdrawn after the releasing uh, in the market. So this is a critical stage for the assessing the adverse reactions. Next, we can move further, and here we will evaluate the significance of a drug, why a drug is needed. In the past, most drugs have been discovered either by identifying the active ingredient from traditional remedies or by serendipitous discovery. A new approach has been to understand how disease and infection are controlled at the molecular and physiological level and to target a specific entity based on this knowledge. The process of drug discovery involves the identification of the candidate, synthesis, characterizing, screening, and assay for the therapeutic efficacy. Once a compound has shown its value in this test, it will begin the process of the drug development prior to the clinical trial. The goal of a preclinical drug discovery program is to deliver one or more clinical candidate molecules, each of which has sufficient evidence of the biological activity at a target relevant to a disease as well as sufficient safety and drug-like property so that it can be entered into the human testing. So that what are the targets? Basically, the target identification is an important aspect of the drug discovery and development process. The target identification is the process of identifying the direct molecular target, for example, protein or nucleic acid of a small molecule. So, in the clinical pharmacology, Target identification is aimed at finding the efficacy target of a drug, pharmaceutical, or other xenobiotic. So the technique used may be based on the principle of the biochemistry, biophysics, genetics, chemical biology, or other disciplines. So identifying a biological target that is druggable. A target is termed druggable if its activity, behavior, or function can be modulated by a therapeutic, whether it be a small molecular drug or biological drug. Practically, even medicine is interacting with a protein target, either boosting or inhibiting its function. So it is estimated that there are 2 million proteins in the human body. And we know that there are about 30 to 35,000 genes present in a human. So the property of a promising drug target can be that the target has a confirmed role in the pathophysiology of a disease and or is disease modifying. So a target should have a confirmed role in the pathophysiology of a disease. If a target is directly not correlated with the disease, it cannot be a potential target. The target expression is not evenly distributed throughout the body. So be specific that you, if you are identifying a target for the modulation or inhibition, you should confirm the specificity of the target, because if a target which is ubiquitously present in the body, it can be lead to a side effect. So the targets of the 3D structure is available to assess the druggability. So this is an important aspect, that the three-dimensional structure or atomic coordinate should be present in the protein data bank for the assess in the druggability. The target is easily accessible, enabling high throughput screening. The target poses a promising toxicity profile. Potential adverse effect can be predicted using phenotypic data. And the proposed target has a favorable intellectual property status. So you can also patent the mechanism of your drug. So when we search a literature, and then we can find that many targets are initially identified using scientific literature. So in 2002, after the sequencing of the human genome, approx 8,000 targets identified of the pharmacological interest, of which nearly 5,000 protein molecule or target molecule could be potentially hit by the traditional drug substance. Nearly 2,400 target by the antibody and nearly 800 target by the protein pharmaceutical. So the chart here provide a distribution of first-in-class drug across the drug family. So here we can see that GPCR, G protein coupled receptor, constitute about 13% to 20% of the drug target. The kinase protein is also constitute about 10% of the drug target. The protease is an enzyme is also constitute about 8% of the drug target. The ion channels 7%, NHR 1%, other enzyme 23%, other receptor 7%, cytokine 4%, and other mechanism 19%. There is unknown target also exists about 8%. So a target can be an enzyme, it can be a protein, it can be a DNA, it can be an RNA, it can be a ribosome. The protein can be classified as a protein target, can be classified as an enzyme, it can be an ion channel, it can be a transport protein that has a function of symport, antiport, and uniport. It can be a receptor. So these are the various drug target which is available for the drug efficacy and mechanism of the drug. So we are now proceed for the target identification strategy. The target identification strategy encompass the target deconvolution and target discovery process. So the target deconvolution process used if you have a compound but you does not know about how this compound is working, and if you know that this compound is effective for any diseases, then if you want to know the exact mechanism of action of this drug, and when you search a target, then this strategy is called target deconvolution process. So in this process, in this scenario, you begin with a drug that appears efficacious and target is identified retrospectively. So it is called target deconvolution process. In the target discovery process, that we want a compound and we know our target. So when we know our target and we want a compound that can inhibit or that can activate this target for the treatment of any disorder, then this process, this strategy is called target discovery strategy. So this approach works on the concept that if you want a new drug, you must find a new target. So once a target is identified, compound library are then screened to find a drug that binds to the target and elicit the desired effect. So here is the, I have provided a case study for the testing of your understanding. This is a pathway correlated with the neuronal cell death pathway of the ischemic stroke. So this is a generalized pathway in which I have draw a possible pathway of the ischemic stroke. For example, when a ischemic stroke incidents occur, means ischemia is a deprivation of the oxygen and blood flow to the tissue. So when ischemic stroke is happened, the glutamate concentration is increased, that lead to the NMDR activation. So NMDR activation is, it is N-methyl D-aspartic acid receptor. So this receptor is activated for a longer duration, and that can result the intracellular calcium level increase. So the intracellular calcium level, increased intracellular calcium level can cause mitochondrial dysfunction, and mitochondrial dysfunction lead to the caspase activation that lead to the neuronal cell death directly. And the mitochondrial dysfunction also generate reactive oxygen species that create oxidative stress, and it can induce the MMP2 and MMP9 activation that lead to the blood-brain barrier disruption. And the oxidative stress also lead to the induction of the apoptotic inducing factor that lead to the PARP1 activation. So the INOS, NOS activation in the brain region can enhance the concentration of reactive nitrogen species. So that can lead to the nitrosative stress. So together, oxidative stress and nitrosative stress together cause the PARP activation. One aspect is also that in the ischemic stroke, there is increase in the concentration of cytokine like TNF alpha. The TNF alpha that in enhanced concentration can lead to the TNF alpha receptor 1 activation, and that can lead to the ribbon kinase activation, and it finally goes to the neuronal cell death. Also, the intracellular calcium level enhancement can activate the mu calpain and M calpain that results lysosomal rupture, and it can cause neuronal cell death via the cathepsin. So this is a typical neuronal cell death pathway of ischemic stroke, and you can identify the targets for the a potential inhibitor identification, a drug identification that can inhibit the target. So this red encircled protein are potential inhibitor for the treatment of the ischemic stroke. So I hope that you can understand about the target. So the target validation is a multifunctional process, because the target validation can be proceeded through the disease association, genetic expression data, overexpression, transgenic, RNA interference, antisense RNA that can use for the target ID validation. The comparative genetics, molecular pharmacology of variants, analysis of molecular sign ailing pathways, interaction, immunoprecipitation is two hybrid method, cell-based in vivo disease model, tool compound and bioactive molecule, literature survey and competitor information, the expression profile, TACMAN, IHC, Western blotting, all can be used for the target ID validation. So this is the summary of the lecture. In this lecture, we have seen the drug discovery process. We have analyzed the need for a new drug, the target, types of drug target, drug identification strategy, target validation process, and in the last session, in this last lecture, I am giving you some question for your practice. So you just Google, you can search the answer of this question using the literature survey, using the research paper or review paper, or by the internet. So first question is outline the different type of clinical trials. I have also mentioned in this lecture that how many types of clinical trial is performed. The second question is the tabulate the name of 25 target. You have just make a list of 25 targets, name these proteins, and by using Google search. So the third question is very conceptual question, and you can solve this question if you have learned from my lecture. So recognize the correct drug identification strategy if you have a small molecule and found effective in lowering the high blood pressure, but do not know about the mechanism of the action of the drug as well as the drug target. So which strategy you can use to the recognizing of the drug identification strategy, whether it is drug identification, whether it is drug deconvolution process. So this is your homework, and you supposed to work on these questions. So our next lecture will be based on the overview of drug discovery screening assay, drug development process, hit to lead, drug discovery strategy from hit discovery to the lead optimization. We will also discuss about the sources of the new drug, animal source, plant source, mineral source, synthetic source. These all will be included in the next lecture. We will also analyze the animal model, their classification, and various factors that can influence the animal research. So hope you have learned something in my lecture. So I am now going to terminate this section. Thank you, and you are open for any questions.